Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. And I'll just end it there, because I don't really remember the rest of it, and I've been stumbling the past few weeks, but that's really the important bits anyway. Alright. We're playing Spirit Island. Let's do 2 boards, any complexity, then random adversary, dose supporting adversary, and diversity of spirits solo. Let's go. Hello, John, and welcome. Okay. Is it weird to do Finder of Paths Unseen when I'm doing a diversity of spirits? Maybe. I have never played this person before. Person? Spirit. I've never played this spirit before. So what's this person's... Person, yeah. It's a person, by the way. What's the spirit's deal? Finder of Paths Unseen is well known to the Dahan. It traverses the island with ease, and most spirit speakers have met it at least once or twice. It communicates more straightforwardly than most spirits, layering thought sendings over its high-pitched trills, and it, or its assistants, sometimes help soul forms of dead Dahan move swiftly on, eluding those spirits that seek to devour them. It is almost commonplace, but also deeply enigmatic, even to those clans who call it Pathmaker. Does it truly make paths, or find them? Is the other space it moves through a realm, or a state of being? While it is occasionally willing to answer, its thoughts do not always translate well to words. Setup. Put 1 presence on your starting board and land number 3. Put 1 presence on any board and land number 1. Any board. Note that you have 6 unique power cards. Playstyle. All about moving the invaders. And Dahan presence beasts from time to time. Good at creating invader-free safe zones due to its many movement powers and its capacity to isolate. Can't afford to destroy invaders too often without a way to re-add destroyed presence, so either needs a big hammer major power or to rely on its teammates for offense. Changes the topology of the board, which increases complexity for all players, particularly in larger games. Summary powers: offense negative, control high. So, special rules. Responsibilities to the dead. After one of your actions destroys 1 or more Dahan invaders or directly triggers their destruction by moving them, destroy 1 of your presence and lose 1 energy. If you have no energy to lose, destroy another presence. But also open to waves. You may make up to 2 of your lands adjacent at a time. May change which lands are adjacent once between actions. Alright, growth options. Reclaim all, gain power card, ignore range this turn, or add a presence +1 card play this turn, or gain a power card, add a presence at range 2, or add a presence in any land, gain 2 energy. Hello, Kokiamat. How are you doing? We start with 0 energy per turn and 1 card plays, but presence spaces may be uncovered along any paths from the starting 2 spaces, including traveling backwards. This says 1 moon and then 2 water, but I assume it's effectively +2 energy, right? Or +1/+1 rather? Is that how that works? Can I go sun to 2 water? That's a path. I found a path that was not seen, even though you can see it plainly. Move presence air. +2 energy. +1 energy any. +1 energy, +1 range on everything. +1 card play, so push 1 town or city. Push a city? You can do that? Alright, innate powers. Lay paths, they cannot help but walk. Fast, range 0 any, but I could ignore range if I really wanted. Push up to half round down of invaders from target land. Do likewise for Dahan presence and beasts each separately. Push up to 1 invader Dahan presence beasts. Repeat this power. Close the ways. Each level is a separate power. Isolate target land. Isolate target land. Isolate target land. Okay. So obviously air is big. Water appears in 2 different things, and then there's moon on 2 different things, and then there's sun, earth, plant. A circuitous and wending journey. Wow, these aren't even words. These are fake words. Push up to half roundup of invaders from target land. Invaders. Push up to half of invaders, including cities. Oh my god. Do likewise separately for Dahan presence and beasts. Aid from the spirit speakers. For each Dahan, you may move 1 invader Dahan presence beasts to a single land within range 2 that has Dahan. So I'm just gonna move things. I'm always moving things. Offer passage between worlds. Moves up to 4 Dahan between target land and 1 of your lands, or the next time Dahan will be destroyed in target land, destroy 2 fewer Dahan. Paths tied by nature. Move up to 2 invaders, Dahan presence beasts to a land within range 2 that has the same terrain. Oh my god. Traveler's Boon. Target spirit moves up to 3 of their presence to 1 of your lands. They move up to 1 invader, 1 Dahan, and 1 beast along with their presence. Total, not for each presence. And Ways of Shore and Heartland. Push up the 2 invaders, Dahan, presence beasts to a land that is also coastal or inland, whatever the target land is. Okay. Lots of movement. Literally every single one of these says move. This one says push, and this says push, but yes. Okay. Okay. And then I also have a spear here that says push. So clearly push comes to shove in this game, right? I was gifted France. Okay. So, limited of 7 towns per starting board. Invaders would if you cannot ever place a town. After exploring each board, pick a land of the shown terrain if it has buildings, add a blight, otherwise add a town. Except during setup, after invaders successfully explore until damage had no buildings, add an explorer there. During setup, put Slave Rebellion on the top 3 cards of the event deck. After invaders build a land with 2 explorers or more, replace all but 1 explorer there with an equal number of towns. But we can move things around. Alright, now what's up with Diversity of Spirits? We played this on Tuesday, but that was multiplayer. Plays differently in single player. You may only view 1 spirit at a time, and while doing so you may not look at any information pertaining to the other spirits. In the spirit phase, you must perform the whole phase for each spirit 1 at a time in a randomly determined order. In the fast and slow phases, spirits are randomly chosen 1 at a time to either use a single power or skip and use no more powers. This continues until all powers have been used or all spirits skip. But we still have strength and diversity. After growth, if you've added a presence, 1 or more presence to lands with another spirit's presence, gain 1 energy or reclaim 1 non-major power card. Cool. And then we have the special rule that 2 of your lands can be made adjacent. And I assume that factors in like presence placement and targeting things. So like if I decide that I want to make E1 adjacent to H2 and I have a presence in E1, it should make H1 range 2, right? Because 1, 2, right? That's how adjacency works? I assume. I don't know, but I assume. Alright, I don't know what's going on. I am blind, I'm deaf, and I am mute. Why can't I expand this? You may not look at any information pertaining to the other spirits. You are forbidden. You can't even look at their spirit panel. Okay. Alright, well... Presence, starting board, land 3. Presence on any board in land 1. Well, land 1 is like opposite sides on both. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on Sunbright Rowan's board because I can. They're exploring sands. Alright, now my question. I assume defend does not count as an action that destroys Dahan or invaders. Directly triggers their destruction by moving them, I assume would be like putting them in the ocean to drown, or Dahan Insurrection, or things that say whenever a piece is added to this land, destroy it, sorts of things. But I assume defend is not counted in this. I assume. I could be wrong, but I assume. And you know what they say about assumptions. All right, I can't look at Sunbright Whirlwind, so I don't really know the best way to handle this other than maybe I just look at my board to start with. And by my, I mean H, even though technically I'm also on E, and these two lands, they're not adjacent right now, but I can make them adjacent if I really want to. I don't really see the purpose for that. I mean, you could push E1 into H3, I guess. But let's think. I can do one card play this turn. I could do an extra card play if I do this growth. But I have no starting energy. I can't get a starting energy or a starting card play no matter what. I can only add at most one presence per turn. Some of these cards cost energy. Some of these are free. Now, I do know that Sunbright's innate power, which I would really love to pull up on the screen and explain to you guys. But I do know that presence placement does allow for the movement of an Explorer or a Dahan. So we could stop the E1 build by adding a presence there. We could stop the E6 build by putting a presence there. I believe growth option 3, from what I was looking at, was range 4, so technically H8 is within range for that as well. But let's see. Pushing this city out is kind of tempting, because you don't always get to push a city out, and that sounds exciting. Also, we are playing France, so kind of want to minimize towns, so that's not really a priority, but we could push that city out. It's also, there's nothing in that land, so we probably don't care about that land. I could just let that land do whatever. Uh-huh. Now, I was talking about defend, but we don't actually have any defend in any of these powers. We also don't have any destruction with any of these powers, which makes sense. You kind of don't want to destroy things and lose your presence and energy. Do we need to bank energy in case we accidentally destroy things with our powers? I don't know. Well, in any case... to a land that has the same terrain is interesting, as that doesn't really prevent ravages per se, but it does allow for us to vacate H8 or something. Uh-huh. I'm just talking because I have no idea what I want to do. I have no clear idea as to what my approach is. I mean, getting to 2 card plays is what I generally do with each spirit. We can kind of fake it with the +1 card play for a bit. We do need energy, as we have 0 energy per turn, which is one of the chief complaints against Shadows, is that they start with 0 energy per turn, and that's why they're the worst spirit ever trademark. But everyone loves Finder, I guess, even though it's literally the same. Corporate wants you to find the difference between these 2 spirits. This is actually a reskinned Shadows. That's my analysis after 5 minutes of looking at cards. Clearly it's just Shadows. I mean, obviously not, but I'm just saying words, as I said. I'm trying to distract from my uncertainty of what I want to do. We could use Traveler's Boon to move a town. This moves 3 presents. Wow. I don't know why we'd want to move 3 presents, but you can. Okay. Let's just say I'm gonna play one card this turn, as I don't really... I don't really know what I'm doing. Should I just gain a power card and see what I get? I don't know. I have 0 energy and 1 card play per turn. And at least one of these cards certainly is better than a random power, right? Maybe I should just take energy. Kind of like just moving this Explorer in town into H2. Solving that Ravage. It does have Dahan, so you do want to solve it, right? So let's just... Okay. And I could add a presence to any land, so I could add it to H8 without considering range. But currently everything is basically within range 2 of one of my presences right now. Okay. Finish Spirit's turn. Okay. It's done. Can I undo? What happens if I undo? If I undo, does it take me way back here? Wow. Wow. Spoilers. Is there a way to undo a growth or something? I mean, obviously, it'd be cheating to come here and be like, oh, actually, I'm going to change my mind on how that spirit was supposed to be played, but at the same time, someone's going to complain and say, hey, no new information was revealed. Although you could say, hey, this is new information. Sunbright has the special rule, a stiff wind at their backs. That's new information I didn't have a minute ago. Also, I completely forgot what Finder Paths Unseen did because I only have a 5-second memory. That's what this scenario is, 5-second memory. Okay. Anyway, after you add presence during growth, push up to 1 explore town from that, or explore Dahan from that land. So I could do that in E1. You could write everything down on a notepad. That sign won't stop me because I can't read. Okay. This innate power doesn't really work at the start too well. I mean, when they explore a land with nothing, they put 2 explorers down. By nothing, I mean no towns, no buildings, rather. So it doesn't stop a build directly, although I could combo with my growth the subsequent turn. But I do want to grow into E1, which is range 2 from this presence. Or if I make E1 and H3 adjacent, it's still range 2 from that presence. I could also make H3 and H8 adjacent, which means it'd be range 2 from this presence. Which actually would do something, as that is otherwise range 4. I don't think I want to do that, though. Scatter and E6 stops that build, or stops that ravage. So we can deal with both of these at least. This also can stop a build next turn. I mean, what we could do, I can't look at this spirit, but I believe that this spirit had a card that said move up to 3 presence to one of your lands. See, the problem here is I have a really good memory, so I remember pretty much exactly the cards that I saw on Finder, and so I can still plan out everything as if this is not a particular scenario. However, you know, putting a presence in E1 means I actually gain an energy per the scenario. So actually, I think I do want to do E1. Let's gain a power card. I'm looking for Sun and Air, although Air is also important for Finder Paths Unseen. This has sun, this has air. Okay. What do I need more of? Air? This one's free? Okay. And then the presence, 2 card plays. Okay. I assume it's because of this. Is it? No, I'll just say wall of text with binders special ability. Adding a presence in binders land prompted a wall of text to the side with information that is not. Oh, it's Sunbright. Okay. There. Okay, so I guess the situation here is that since I can make 2 lands adjacent and I'm putting a presence here which pushes an explorer out, I could decide to push it to a finder land by making them adjacent. I don't think I need to. I don't see a difference between H3 and E2 really. I mean, this has a city in it, but okay. So yeah, I'm not gonna make lands adjacent. I'm gonna push this explorer out. I'd rather it go in a land that's diseased, as it's not gonna be affected by France's rule anyway. Okay. So I took this power, which I could combine with a sun air power, but we wanted to use scatter, which isn't a sun air power. I can combine this with a sun air power, which would probably be Gift of Windsped Steps. Question is, what was the power I just played? Remember when I just said I had a really good memory? I think the power I said was you can move pieces to a land within range 2 that has the same terrain, right? I remember I said that all of these powers say move, except technically 2 of them say push. I don't think that was a push one. I believe push is technically you move it to an adjacent land, but since it's specifying its range 2, it's not push, it's move. But since it's move, it doesn't say push or gather. I mean, I could just use this on myself and use my innate fast. And then I can stop that build just straight up, and then also the plus energy actually allows me to play like both these cards. So if I use my innate fast, which does say push, I can then solve E6, and then I save scatter for where they explore, and that will get rid of 2 explorers. Okay. And now we pick spirits at random. Well, except I think this is the only fast power anyway. I target myself. I do violent windstorms. I push this explorer. Let's push it into a finder land, even though I just said I don't really see a reason to, but if I push it in a finder land, I can put a presence here later, gain the energy, but also push that explorer. Uh-huh. Is there any reason to make lands adjacent for builds? I don't think so. I don't know if skip for rest of phase means skip for the rest of the build, but I'll just hit skip. Because this is invader phase, right? So I don't want to skip the explorer. Spoilers. I think we saw this bug in a previous Handelabra live. They're exploring mountains. I mean, pretty much for explore, it also doesn't matter as every land is adjacent to a building right now. I also don't foresee why you would. Okay, skip for rest of phase. Just skip. Oh, and then that's that button. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Skip for rest of phase is broken. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Okay. These are lands. The most useful place for Scatter the Winds would be H3. If I get to 3 card plays, then we can definitely push 2 explore towns. This says fast, but it's normally slow, right? Yeah, it's normally slow, but it has the red thing because we used the fastest term. So it's not going to be helpful for this round because we already used our make a thing fast power. However, we do have Terror Turns to Madness, which we can use to turn a town strifed. So I think it's like most useful on this land because it's 3 explorers. So. Oh. Maybe I should push it and then click a new thing. The rule says choose up to 5. I was trying to choose the 5 first and then push them, but details. Alright, E6 would be fine. H2 we're letting blight anyway. H4 is building. H5 and E4 are blighted right now. I think I do push 1 there, and then let's just put it in E4. We could kill the guy at E6 with that Dahan. Sure, why not? Also, I could make this land adjacent. I guess that's what skip for rest of phase did, was let me prompt adjacency on this. Wait, how would I make this land adjacent if I can't click on this spirit? No idea. But I could have made this land adjacent to like E1 and pushed guys into E1, right? Hold on, let me undo. What if I hit skip? And then I use this. Oh, it doesn't work. If I hit skip, it won't let me use this power. My only options here: use a single power or skip and use no more powers. But I can't use the special rule. I get why I can't, but I also I'm upset. Oh well. Not a super big deal. Wait, what am I doing? Hold on. Oh, I had to click the Dahan, right? Why can't I click this? Oh, because it's to as many different lands as possible. Okay, never mind. I'm done. I don't think I actually pushed the Dahan, did I? I was thinking of combining it. Okay, yeah, I get it, I get it. I don't need to push this to Han then. This guy can stay where he is, I think. Alright, and then this. We can actually make these two lands adjacent and push these guys to E1. Serves zero purpose. Also confirmation that says move and not push. It says a land. It doesn't say lands. So I can't push the explorer to E1 and the town to H2, right? Let's just test this out. This. Yeah, no, it's cannot. All right. So that is the Ravage. Technically also an Explorer in there, but I don't care about it. These are builds. I guess I could use Terror to Strife. Oh no, this isn't, I can't Strife. This is straight up Fear. Read the card. Read the card. Like those hummingbird indicators. These are the lands that are adjacent. E1 is actually adjacent to H8, don't you know? But we can't change adjacencies right now, as we have to finish all of Sunbright's growth without accounting for Finder's special rules. Makes sense given how this is supposed to work with this scenario. Okay, I can play 3 cards if I click on energy, and I kind of want to do that. If I'm gonna play all these cards, obviously this is a very expensive deal 1 damage to multiple things type power, a la lightning. We can use it to stop H4 or E5 from building. +1 range with all powers. I guess I guess Finder will get that because I don't see a reason for me to have it this turn. And the energy on Finder would be better. And then this is straight up Fear. And we will have 1 Fear, push up to 2 Explorers or Towns, which I guess will solve whichever one of E5 and H4 is not solved. I just said I would probably give it to Finder, but I don't currently have range to H4. I do have Sacred Sight range to E5, but I don't have regular presence range to H4. The way to get around that would be to put a presence. If I'm clicking this presence at range 1. Here's where having the ability to make various lands adjacent would kind of be nice, as I could make E1 and H3 adjacent, which allows me to put a presence in H3, although I could already do that. Or I can make H8 and E1 adjacent, which allows me to put a presence in H8, which doesn't help me either. So actually, no, it just says doesn't actually do anything. I guess I put a presence in E4, push the Explorer into E5, and it dies. If I wasn't playing this scenario, I could do that stuff. You know? Also, there's something to be said about putting a presence in a land with Finder, as that allows me to gain energy, but details. Alright, finish Spirit's turn. That is done. So this is solved, and that's going to be solved. And that's all she wrote. So now I can actually get an extra energy or an extra card play, as this is a valid path. We currently have 2 energy. We're getting 1 from Sunbright, probably. Plus 1 range, mountains built. Except all the mountains things are basically solved. Wait. Wait, can I just put Fort Dahan in here and then push those on? Move. Wait. Move. Let's move. But could I put Fort Dahan in there and then just move those invaders to a different land? Can I solve that garbage? I don't need to, but I could. I guess they don't have a single land that has Fort Dahan, so I can't make that happen. Okay. Ooh. I can actually move a city out of E2 with Traveler's Boon. Uh-huh. My presence is currently either in sands, which is ravaging, or mountains, which is building, so I'd have to grow into wetlands or jungle to avoid that issue. It might be better to try to isolate, like, inner lands, right? Also, I can't... I can't change what's adjacent right now. I guess that probably makes sense, as we're not doing actions, we're doing growths. Our growth? They're growth actions, right? Right? Yeah, if I isolate the inner lands, then we get less builds. Or less explorers, right? Like this H7 town, well, that doesn't actually do anything. This E7 town does see E8, so if they explore wetlands, they would currently see E8. But if I get this town out of there, again, the issue is that I can't really, well, hold on. Half round down. Well, half round down does not help me. I could just isolate the land. Maybe that's better. Maybe instead of moving to town, I should just isolate the land. Ever think about that one? I'd have to play either... I'm assuming I'm taking a moon, getting +1 card play. Maybe. I would have to play 2 airs and an earth. We'll always have airs. So I'd be playing this card. Or I'd be playing an air and 2 waters, which is this card, but also Traveler's Boon. Or 3 airs, which I cannot do right now. I like that you can actually see the air that's underneath that and the plus range over there. Anyway, could also just push an invader, like straight up with 2 sun, 2 air, which I can do with these 2 powers over here. Which, I could push the city out, move the city out rather, and put it in E3, which is funny. I don't know, man. I just work here. Can I even... I can grow to E7, yes. So if I do this, let's just say I do this. Just for fun. I do this, and then some other air card. If I get Moon Air, I would do this. And we have plus range this turn? What does that do? I can push the city out. I can do what I said I was going to do with a lot of steps with just 1 step. Requires Moon Air. We have no defend right now. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do, man. I think Traveler's Boon is not helpful this turn, right? Because the issue being I can move a city out, but it's gonna go to a land where I don't want them to go to. I guess it could go to E7 for isolating that land. Screw it. I'm clicking that card. Oh, we actually have... right, I can do both. I can isolate 2 different lands. Okay. Okay. And now we do powers in a random order, which is kind of annoying, as I need to use the Sacred Site power before I lose the Sacred Site. So I can't do the Traveler's Boon yet. Although if I move... I can actually move both presents into E7, I guess. Doesn't actually... okay. I don't have the plus range right now either. I need that... I need these powers to align, man. Okay, well I can do the isolate right now. Isolate this. Okay, well... wait. Okay. I was randomly chosen again, I guess. Isolate on H7 doesn't do anything. I would want to isolate H1, H6, or H5, I guess. Or H3. Well, no, they already explored mountains. I could also isolate E3. Probably isolating the blighted land is better. I could isolate E4 too. Well, no, they can't explore E4. No, they're building there. No, they're not building there because we're gonna kill those things. My stream of consciousness thought process here is so funny. Okay, they're not going to be able to explore E4. Let's isolate H5. So isolating E7 stops them from exploring E8. Isolating H5 stops them from exploring H5. So either wetlands or jungle, they will not explore one of those 2 lands. So that's good. And now I'm annoyed. I guess I do this. Does it say I have to do everything with each spirit? Because the spirits are randomly chosen one at a time to either use a single power or skip and use no more powers. Like, I assume it's like, alright, randomly choosing Binder, use a power. Randomly choosing Sunbright, use a power. I assume. I could be wrong, and I probably am wrong. I mean, I guess we could just do my original thought of putting 2 presents, or putting the city in E7. I could just move my Sacred Site to make that happen. Oh, I can also move some other random presents for fun. But I don't think I will. That's not what I wanted to do. It's just 1 invader. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, now I can... well, I got the Sacred Site. I need to do this before I lose the ability to. So this on you. Okay, now I can do this. And now I have plus range on this. What was my check mark for H4 again? I have a check mark here and I forgot what it was for. My memory is so good. Probably a finder power. I'm going to put this explorer here and it'll be fine. Okay, everything's fine. On a land with exactly 1 Dahan that has or adjacent to a city, replace that Dahan with a town. Okay, well, that sucks. Wait. I could make this, well, no, they're building there. But I could, okay. Can I make a different Dahan convert? Well, yes and no. Obviously, I can make E7 adjacent to H3, and then I can make this Dahan convert for board E, right? No. That doesn't count for board E. Never mind. Read the card. Okay. No, it's... These were... I didn't actually change any adjacencies with moving that city, so... Alright, well, H3 is building... If I make that a town, so it has to be H1. The unfortunate thing is that the E1 Ravage is going to result in a Blade, or the E5 build will result in a city. What else is on here? Beast steel damage, 2 Dahan and 2 building. Each Dahan destroys a building at a Blade. None of those are true. Oh, this build solved. That's nice. And this beast is just killing that explorer. Okay, so there's not much I can really do. Don't think I really want to lose presence. And I don't think I need to change adjacencies for any of this, right? So, skip. Skip. I'm just gonna hit the skip button. Oh, you're right. Yeah, E7 is isolated. Yeah, so it shouldn't do anything for that. You're right. I did make that isolated. Okay, we're fine then. No? Wait. Yes, no, you're right. It's isolated, so it doesn't count. Aha! Now you're thinking about portals. I'm just gonna mash the skip button. Jungles? Okay. That's isolated. That's isolated. That's already adjacent to a thing, so none of this matters. Okay. Right, Ways of Shore and Heartland. That's how we were going to solve H5, but instead... And then Slave Rebellion is not next turn. Okay. Okay, so this is the only Ravage, and it's actually solved. That's nice. Build, build, build. To a land that is also coastal or inland. You can move to any coastal land. Alright, I would say... Sunbright's Reclaiming could just do whatever in that land. Probably. It's not close enough, but whatever. Details. Let's just leave everything in H2. Why not? Make H2 the problem land. Okay. Fear and push 2 things. I can just push these 2 things. Actually, I'm pushing 3 things. Surely I'm not going to have increased damage due to the event, right? Surely. Okay. Starting with Finder. So unless they do plus damage on Ravage, we have 3 good lands, and if they do plus damage, I will be sad. Build and nothing else. Okay. So. Stage 2 is coming up. So. When they explore with an escalation on each board, pick a land of the shown terrain. If has building, add a blade, otherwise add a town. So I can't use isolate or adjacencies to stop any of that. It's still going to be the same terrain. What happens if I were to play my hand right now? What would that do? What thresholds would I hit? I don't have any earth. I don't have any water. I don't have any plants, so I don't get any isolates. I do get a push an invader, blah, blah, blah. And I do get push half round down, blah, blah, blah. If I have 2 sun, 2 moon, 2 air, I can empty out E7 before it builds. And actually, yeah, I was just thinking of that. If I could push 2, or if there's 2 and I do half round down, that's 1. And then I also push an invader. That would actually solve E7. And this is a push from target land, so I can actually make this land adjacent to some other land I'm in. Whatever that would do. Put them all in H2. You know, H2 is the only problem land. Push up to half round up. I could turn H2 into E2 or something. I mean, it's also a push, so it's not really that, but I could just mess around with the invaders. For that to happen, I'd have to do plus card play. I'd have to put a presence in H2. And then I'd be using up pretty much all my energy. And then I reclaim and I don't put a presence down next turn. Is there an argument for taking a power card, clicking this, and then not reclaiming next turn? I could click this and then this next turn, and then hit 3 card plays naturally? Because if I do this and play 3 cards this turn and then reclaim next turn, I only have 2 card plays. Probably getting to natural 3 card plays is better, although my energy gain is still kind of crap. And I would love to be able to guarantee I can hit 2 moon, 2 air, 2 moon, 2 sun. But I can, which is these 2 cards, right? I don't need circuitous. So since I can already do that, I can safely gain the power this turn, I think. Uh-huh. Kinda don't want to click anything that says deal damage, because if I destroy an invader with that, even an innocent explorer, if I destroy an explorer, I destroy one of my presence and lose an energy, so I don't want to click a damage power. But disorienting landscape is fine. Gives me air, which I always want. Gives me a moon, which I usually want for the left innate. Gives me a plant, which I might eventually want for the lower tier isolate. So I think that's the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And now I can play 2 cards naturally. I'm gonna play the Sun Air cards. All right, so we can push half round down and then 1. And before I lose the ability to do this because of how things work, I need to make this and this adjacent. Okay. I also have aid from the spirit speakers being played for fun, I guess. For each Dahan, you may move invader, Dahan, presence beast to a land, single land within range 2 that has Dahan. Why does this one say single when everyone else just says a land? I guess probably because it has to say, for each Dahan, you may move one to a land. But if it was like, oh, there's 4 Dahan in here, this one can move to a land, this one can move to a land, this one can move to a land, etc. I guess this is target land and one of your lands. Oh, but this is move between target land and one. So I could target H7 with this, move H8 to H7, and then I can move that town to H2. Oh, but it has to have Dahan in it. To a single land within range 2 that has Dahan. I'm just kind of trying to get rid of this town so we don't have inner land visibility on this board. That's all I'm trying to do. I guess the best I could do, get the Dahan in H7, make H8 and E1 adjacent, and then I can move that town to E1. I don't want to move it to E3 because that's building. Moving into H6 would do literally nothing for visibility. It would still see H8 and H7. I think that's what I'm doing. We have gotten 4 fear this game, by the way. Fear, none. Okay. Guess that makes sense. Gonna have to work out the fear angle down the road, but for now, let's just prevent Interland Explorers, because it makes this game a lot easier. See, I think that's all I need to do for now. With the spirit. You're reclaiming. You're gaining a power card. You would like Sun Air. You don't have Sun Air. You have Sun or Air, but not both. If target land has invaders, 2 fear. If blight is present, 1 fear. So I can click that for H2. Again, we want air more than sun, so... Playing 3 cards. Why are these 3 lit up? Why is that one not lit up? I mean, now they're all lit up? Okay, I guess it's just a visual bug. I probably do still want this tier 2 innate because... Like, assuming they escalate, say they explore jungles, then that's explorer, another explorer, and then escalate. I could put a town there, and I can use this to push everything out of there. I don't have any other damage right now. Let's play this one, and then... I don't think we need to deal damage this turn. Let's wait until there's like explorers I can kill with that, so let's play those. Next turn, I don't currently have 2 sun, 3 air. Oh, I'm actually getting air, but I don't have 2 sun. But don't know. We're getting +1 range and make a pusher gather fast. Neither of which I think particularly matters. Because the things that I clicked with Finder were fast, right? If only I had a memory. Yeah, they're all fast. Okay. So move. Click on and move the piece to it. Wait. No. Whatever. Right. So I need to take advantage of this adjacency before we lose that ability. The only spirit that benefits from this is myself, other than giving energy to Finder. Plus range. Finder doesn't need it. You don't need it. Alright, I'm just giving it to Finder. Okay. Let's... Huh. And I could move your presence. You don't need the Sacred Sight this turn. You probably don't want to be an H2 though. Wait. No, but you could actually just go to an adjacent land for fun. Eh. Okay. All the builds are solved. And then... Oh, you may change which lands are adjacent once between actions. But wait. Why can't I use that now? I don't know. Thought that powers for actions, unless the scenario is like one at a time, so either use a single power or skip and use no other powers. So I guess I can't do like things like change lands or innate, or change lands or adjacent. It's just it's useless to push this somewhere where it's gonna. Like I wanted to get this in E1, but I can't make the lands adjacent. Or no, I can't. Wait, this button's here. Okay, never mind. This button's here. I don't know if that's bad. Wait. Wait, what? Oh, I had to click that. Okay. I see. Okay, I don't know if that was like a bug that I couldn't click that button or if undoing it and enabling me to do the action was the bug. I don't know. I just know this is an active development. um... Is it better for this town to be here anyway? I did all this effort to put it here, but it makes E7 and E5 visible. Whereas this town made H7 and H8 visible. Because these buildings are making H6, H5 visible. I guess no, I was also seeing H4. So this was making 3 lands visible. This is now only 2 lands. Surely that's better. I don't need this to be fast, so here, you can have energy. Cities do +2 damage, add disease, ignore disease. Fear per land with invaders for Dahan outnumber buildings. Stage 2 jungle. Okay, so this adjacency isn't doing anything for this. Let's just leave things coastal. Still tier level 1. Baby's first fear card. And I don't have range there. Coastal. Alright. So any ravage that we could defend would be great, but we don't have any defense right now. Oh yeah, France event. You're right! I've been paying attention to it this entire game until just now. So we could use Sunbright's Innate to push a Dahan into a land with a town or something. Although it's not enough for H1. Tempest. We can use to stop the build in E7. We can't make things fast. So... probably a good turn to gain a power. I'm getting an air if I go up the card plays track. If I get a sun card, I do get the upper tier thing, but it's more important to kind of find fast Dahan pushing probably. Because currently we don't have good candidates for either board. If I can get an extra Dahan in here, let's make that question mark. If I get an extra Dahan in there, that could convert. Or if I just do damage to it, which I could waste my Tempest on, but stopping a build seems better. I did my innate on E3 last turn. Could I done it somewhere else? I could just do Tempest in this land and then let the thing convert and then... Maybe that's better, because then I... Okay. Yep. Way back to before the invader phase, yes. Okay. So I can just turn that into Slave Rebellion. I can still, like, push explorers out, or I could just let the land blight. Sacrifice the Dahan that just built. If we were to find the fast strife power, that might change where I want things to be. If I can strife a city in here and get Dahan in here, that'd be the dream. However, I'm pretty sure Finder used the move Dahan power last turn. I could reclaim, I guess, but... Our plan was to get to 3 card plays this turn. I think it's fine to gain the power card here. I don't need the energy this turn. And there's no air cards. None. 0. Rude. Well, I think we said that we could gain a card that was sun but not air, as we're getting an air here, so I just need 2 airs, which are my 2 cards, and then 1 of these. So I can gain 1 of these. Unfortunately, neither of these are going to do things fast, which is not ideal. I feel like I like Pact more than I like Gift of Living Energy, though, even though energy might eventually be an issue. Just not going to be helpful for this turn. I mean, maybe... I can finagle adjacent lands to make Pact do something good, but... This is not going to cost much energy. Maybe I should be a little more concerned about energy. I only have +1, and I'm probably gaining a power next turn. I say this as Magos Informaticus says, yeah, makes sense to me with Roland already having 2 give out energy cards. Why am I so wrong? Well, no, because I got 5 energy this turn. If I click this, I have 5 energy. I can play whatever cards I want. Next turn, I will have +1 energy. I'm gaining another minor. Should be fine. Okay, I'm clicking that. So the question is, though, which land can I Slave Rebellion? Maybe I need to put a Finder presence in H1, make H1 and E7 adjacent, and then I can Tempest into H1. The reason being, if I get a singular Dahan in there, then that's enough. So sun. There's a disease in H2. This is 4 fear right now? Okay. You need to up our fear game. Next turn might be a reclaim turn still. Okay. 3 card plays. I can play my hand. So let's go ahead and take this. There's, again, no air here. The top 8 cards of the minor power deck did not have air on it. Okay. Also, we don't have fast Dahan movement. I can't destroy pieces. Yeah, I can't destroy pieces. I don't like fire. Earth is fine, sun is fine, plant is okay. Oh, but I don't want that one. Right. I mean, defend 4 is okay. It doesn't directly cause destruction. And don't we have Pact? We have Pact. Okay, we have Pact. Add a presence here. I can't make lands adjacent again. The way to... Oh. It does unlock thresholds, so I do want it. We have an isolate, we have push half invaders. We don't have plus range, we don't have range ignoring. But I do need H1 and E7 to be adjacent for reasons. I can move my presence though if it's in a land with multiple pieces, thereby creating a sacred site. So let's finish for now. I'm gonna hit undo though, because then this button appears. I don't know if that's legal or not, but I'm doing it. Okay. Now this button's still here. If I move my piece out of here, does that stop the adjacency? It does. Isolating H2 is probably the most worthwhile, right? I guess I've done absolutely nothing for H5 this turn, by the way. Maybe I should have thought more about H5. Maybe I did disorienting landscape in H5, which means I need to create the sacred site. Well, I isolate this one. Alright, now we're on Sunbright, so I want to use the sacred site range first. Before we lose it. I can push this presence into H1 using the adjacency. So those are no longer adjacent. So this is Slave Rebellion, that's Slave Rebellion. That Ravage will blight but kill everything. There will be no ravage there. So do I need an adjacency before I move forward? I don't think I do. I do want to put that guy into H2. There's no reason for him to not be anywhere else. Mini piece. Okay. Slave Rebellion. I hit the wrong piece. No, go back. Okay. On each board with 9 or more buildings, build cards skip the highest numbered matching land. On each board with 3 or fewer buildings, build cards cause 1 extra action in the highest numbered matching land. This can affect the land without invaders. Okay. 2 fear per board with 2 or more beasts. When invaders ravage with land has both Dahan and presence, defend 5. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings, so we don't get a skip. And there's 1 building here, so we do get extra build. On board E, cause 1 extra build in E7. Okay. Fear card. Push an explorer into a land with more buildings than the land it came from. There's no presence in E3, so there's no defend there, right? Yeah, still playing. We can get pieces from E1 into H2. Oh, also I can just push this guy into H2. So now that's not building. I can't click E3 with this. It's not adjacent even. There's no finder piece in there anyway, so best I can do is E1 into H2. Or E2 into E1. Is there a reason to do that? I don't think there's a reason just yet. Okay. Extra build. They're doing coastal. Okay. All right, well, those are the issues. Currently building 9 towns. I mean, if H1 ravages, it blates, but nothing really happens. I mean, they don't build. E3 ravages, it's a cascade, but then they don't build. H2 and E1 are both diseased, so that build doesn't do anything. H3 and E2 are building, and we don't have, like, ravage prevention there. Sunbright is probably reclaiming this turn, which means that we could do Tempest in E2 or H3. I would like to do it in E2, but that will take some effort. Maybe I take plus range to make that happen. Do I care about the E7 Ravage? They've already done stage 2 jungles. The piece there does make for inner-land visibility. I'd like to prevent that. We'd also like to make progress in this game. We've done a very good job of isolating the inner land, but our fear game is crap. I feel like I'm not using this to put disease down, especially because there's no coastal wetlands, which is weird, but whatever. For fear. Since the fear game is trap, let's just generate fear. I don't remember what other powers Finder has. Maybe none. We have this to push 3 pieces as well. I mean, the mountains I feel like are the pieces that I want to move the most. I don't think I want these to go to E1 right now. Because that just makes E1 a bigger problem next turn. Alright, so we have this. Okay. Okay, so we have Pact still. Could try to use Call to Ferocity to gather Dahan into a land that we will then pact. The problem is that Dahan are generally in lands where like I don't want to move it from H5. As currently that's exactly enough pieces for that to work. I don't want to move them from E3 as that's exactly enough pieces for that to work. I could do this in H2 to deal with that next turn, I guess. I don't know. There's like how many pieces in there? 2 cities, 3 towns, 7 explorers, so that's 6 pieces I can move out. 2 towns, 2 cities, 3 towns, and an explorer. I could just push towns for fun. But anyway. Finders Reclaiming next turn. So you ignore range this turn, which is cute. Also gain a power card, which, cool. None of these say defend on it. This is range 0, so I can't hit that with that. On one hand, I would kind of like to push this town out of E1, but it's also diseased, so it doesn't really immediately matter. Might just call to Ferocity. This generates a fear. Oh, but I don't have range. Okay, then I can't hit that with that, but I can. Maybe consider using Tempest in H3. I mean, I can use Pact in H1. It's not the best, like, Pact ever, but at least it stops that Ravage and build. guess we can gather Dahan in E7 and Pact in E7. That generates a fear at least. Maybe I'll leave these Dahan where they are. These guys are doing nothing. And just do that. No, I want to leave the Dahan there. Okay. Prisons can stay. Packed myself. I don't need to gather. I do need to gather. I'll just take that one. Whatever. Okay. That's the only problem right now. That Ravage is fine. And then those are the builds. So you're reclaiming, we know that. I'm gonna gain a minor and you can't stop me. I have a lot of power cards, but I don't have much energy right now. But I could gain a major and then play it next turn with plus energy. Problem is, a lot of the majors you would like to have are the ones that deal damage, right? Not necessarily. There are defend majors. There are fear majors. There are push peace majors. I'm gonna click minor. I regret everything. Have a Dahan movement piece. Gather and push, which is kind of nice when I can make 2 lands adjacent. But it gives me fire and animal, which I don't care about. None of these have moon. These 2 have water. It says water, earth, plant. Which is pretty much gonna just tick all the boxes for close the ways. Mountain Sands blight removal though could be helpful because I could just let H2 ravage next turn and not care. Yeah, we're still in stage 2. We've seen jungle. So sands, mountains, or wetlands are next. If they explore sands, that's when H2 starts getting scary. If H2 is scary, I take Flesh Rot Fever then. Alright, if I play Disorienting Landscape, I can at least make that not matter. Even though the wilds is kind of unideal, but details. This is gonna be solved with Tempest. If we're reclaiming, we probably have Pact, so I probably take Call to Migrate, and that can solve E1. Even though it's not great for elements, but if I take this and this, and Earth gives an Isolate, so I can isolate H2 again. I think that's really the best bet, as that stops visibility. I guess The only lands it stops are H6 and H5. H5 is, they're not exploring jungles. H6 is just one land. If I isolate E1, they can't see E7 or E5. Well, again, they can't explore jungles, so E7's fine. If I click this, I get 2 isolates. And I have push half invaders. I mean, I could... Actually, if I have 2 isolates, I can just isolate H2 and E1. If they explore sands, then they don't add extra pieces to those lands, at least. If they explore mountains, they don't explore E5. If they explore wetlands, they don't explore H6. Of course, the escalate still triggers, and I would probably still put a town in H6, but at least there won't be 2 explorers there I'd also have to deal with. Given that H2 and E1 are going to be isolated, push up the 2 invaders to align with the range 2. I can at least do that to get the pieces out of E1 after the build, so I don't have to rush to clear E1. Although we did say call them migrate would work fine for that. But we can definitely clear out something, I guess. Let's say that's okay. You're reclaiming. You're gaining a minor. We have fast strife. There's pretty much no reason not to click this. This gives me sun and air. So does Sky Stretches. This gives me sun and air, and it adds a strife, which means that Slave Rebellion is happy. So we're playing Pact, as we said. I need to play 2 air cards. That's all my cards. 1 more sun card. We don't need plus range on Finder, as they ignore range this turn. So we're doing Tempest, right? I click this probably. Keep the sun card for later. Yeah. Is there any reason to instead click like this and get this thing? Let's save it for next turn. I said I needed plus range myself, didn't I? My solution to H3 was to Tempest there. But Finder, does Finder have a plethora of things and not an idea of what to do with all of them? I'm I'm sure we have one that says move half pieces. Half round down pieces or something. I could just Tempest an E1 and then pack to kill the town without having to worry about extra things. I could also just push these pieces out. Maybe instead of doing pact, I do that. Okay, so let's put this away, take gift, so I get plus range, and I do have this for pushing and dealing damage, so... And then now we do a different order. Okay. So we did that for that. Isolate. Tempest. I guess we're only pushing one. Or no, wait, hold on. Am I being dumb? I think I'm being dumb. Hold on, I'm cheating. Plus range on myself. Not that far. Okay, do not ravage in lands unless there are more invaders than the current terror level. Well, that's rude. Shine with beasts, damage per beasts. In each land, push Dahan per Badlands disease to lands without Badlands disease. I just find this rude. I find this rude. Fear card. Strife in the land with or adjacent to beasts. Yeah, they're building an E3 now because they're not ravaging. Beasts are in H4, E6. I am not. Fighter's not in this land, so it doesn't really matter. And super strife that explorer. Okay. Unfortunately, I do see H4 and E5. Okay. All right, let's put it here. Let's put it here. And now there's like way too many explorers in various lands, and that scares me, but that's okay. We will deal with things later. Fear. We push 3 pieces, deal 1 damage in the land, pushed 2. trying to think how to deal with like e5. Do we have? We make yeah, we can do slow power fast. We can scatter e5. Scatter e5 fast, which at least stops 5 towns. Okay, I'm gonna put a check mark here for now because I don't feel as bad about that land. We do have options there at least. And yeah, I am aware this is like super blight. I'm not really that worried. There is a blight in there though. Just trying to think like what is the best way to kind of simultaneously deal with various builds and ravages. Like if we had any sort of defend, then putting things in the coast with the Han would be the best, but we kind of don't. I did play Pact this turn. I guess I could Pact fast. Although I want to scatter fast. I would kind of like to push 3 pieces. I would kind of like for that 3 pieces to then kill a town. So I feel like if I could make A1 and H3 adjacent, which I can't actually do since I don't have a finder in between any of these actions, I could push E3 into E1. I could push E2 into E1. That would serve kind of the same purpose. Maybe I will. Okay. I've called to migrate and then I proceeded to not actually play Pact like I was going to use Call to Migrate for anyway. That's fine. I don't care. We have Paths Tide, which moves 2 invaders, Dahan, Presence Beasts to a land within range 2 that has the same terrain. And then we've Call to Migrate. I mean, I could lit H3 Ravage, but put a million Dahan in there, and then that might take care of that build. It's like if I Paths Tide here to move the pieces in there, and then like Call to Migrate these Dahan. Maybe not those Dahan. These are also not doing much. Currently 3 Dahan die, but we'll think about how we can best solve that. So Blight because of stupid event, Blight because of stupid event. Ha! And we know the next turn is either wetlands or jungle, or oh yeah, wetlands or jungle. I thought, oh no, jungle already went. Right, I'm looking at this wrong. It's either wetlands or sands. And we have 2 more cards before the next Slave Rebellion. Strafing E3 solves E3, but I kind of like to solve H3 more. I mean, this is blighted though. Scattering E5. Maybe that's not ideal as that puts an explorer at E2. Unless I put a finder presence there and make that adjacent to something else to distract from E2. You could play 4 cards. Put a presence down to push an explorer. If I want to pact E3 though, I do need to have range there. So the only option for my presence would therefore be E4. The only alternative would be to have a finder presence in E7 that provides visibility somewhere, or I use finder's movement thing to push presences around as well, but let's say for now I'm doing this. Pact, is that going to be wrong? If we get the mountains ravages solved or something, then we like the only ravage is H3. That would then solve the build. This would be solved with Fire in the Sakai. Windsped, Steps, and Scatter would mostly deal with this. E1 would still be a problem. Let's save this for now. I know you're kind of cheating by going to Finder's turn, which means that we should technically not go back, but... here though, what could we do? We can clear out H1. And instead put things in H3, which make that even worse. We could clear out H3, putting things in H1. Like, basically make one of these ravages not an issue. I could have used this to move Sunbright Presence around, but I don't think it would have helped with getting range to E3, but I can still do that. Is there going to be significance to that? Probably not. Do we have a Sunbright Presence in H2? No, he prevented that. We could lower Dahan Destruction in H3 by 2. Currently this is destroying 3 Dahan. If I lower that count by 2, it destroys 1 Dahan, which leaves 3, which kills the town and 4 explorers. So we could use that to let H3 be solved. So the issue is still going to be H1. I could move a town and a Dahan into H3, which does that screw with that count? Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dahan to killing 4 Dahan kills 2 fewer, so 2 Dahan die. There'd still be 3 Dahan. So that doesn't work for what I want it to do. We could push Town City from one of your lands and put a presence to make that happen. We could just push H1 straight into H2, which is already super bad anyway, but it would then mean that I don't have to worry about H1's Ravage. I think that's okay. We solve that, we solve that. Put a presence in E5 so that we can make E5 and H2 adjacent, just so we can push and explore into H2. Alright, so if I'm doing offer passage... This is a fast power. Thinking, do I want a power card or a presence or what? Energy might be tight. I don't think I'm playing this. I mean, I guess I could use it for E5. It'd just be a bit expensive. I want to use Traveler's Boon to save Sunbright Presence. Like, if E1's blighting, which it might not, because we could use this innate to solve it, but maybe it's better to use that in E5. I mean, there's 6 explorers in there. I can push 3 with the top tier, plus 1 to make it 4, and then I don't need to really worry about making H2 and E5 adjacent, even though this does say range 0. I feel like my brain is mush right now, I'll be honest. Doesn't help that we're still on tier level 1. I mean, we're very close to tier level 2, but, like, it still feels like we're very far away from making, like, significant progress to victory. Let's say I click this. It's not committing yet, but if I click that and I do that one like I said I was going to do... And then what else? We don't have enough water cards to hit this innate. We don't have any plant cards. So it feels like playing 4 cards this turn doesn't really do much in terms of thresholds. I guess I would have to play all 4 of those cards in order to hit all the thresholds I could theoretically hit. Maybe that works though. And then I still need to make these 2 lands adjacent. Strike that town. Still using this on myself, probably. Destroy if you were to Hun. I can just stop this first then. Push explorers in this land. Or maybe I was still supposed to. Still supposed to do Windsped Steps or Scatter the Winds there, but I don't want to do it yet. But I have to. I guess I can push it to Han. That ordering was kind of annoying, but whatever. Move presence, yeah, so move Sunbright presence. Basically to vacate where Blight is going to be. I think I'll move it there. But don't move explorers. Isolate that land again. So if they can either explore sands or wetlands. If they explore sands, they... Well, if they explore wetlands, then they don't go to H6. Everything in H3 will be dead, everything in E3 will be dead, so there's no visibility to E4 or E5 or E7 currently. So I can do the other isolate to prevent the Explorer into a wetlands or sands, which there's no coastal wetlands already, so it would just have to be E1. Did I do that right? I don't know. Aided by sun? I have no idea how much sun we have. Sunbright played a lot of sun, right? At least 3 suns? Disease land with city, 2 fear per player, cities +2 damage, but that's only relevant in H2, which was blighting anyway. Let's not do ignore the contact. We also have beasts, destroy explorers, which is irrelevant. You're at 4. Wow, I can actually click on you and see what you have. Alright, you're definitely discarding. And then I can click on you. We'll discard that one. Does nothing. Player card says strife in a different lane with 2 invaders. Invaders take damage per strife. There's no places where I can actually put this that would result in a better slave rebellion. I don't need adjacencies for this. It's not really gonna do anything. It clears out explorers of E1, which will matter for that. I think I will... Oh, it's one strafe. Okay. That will save all the Dahan in that land, which is meaningful. That strife is meaningless. This strife is meaningless. So I'll just kill one of those explorers for fun. Wait, I can make this cascade to a different land. But I would rather it go to H6. Island is blighted. Hold on. Before we do that then, since Island is blighting. Ravage the lands that are solved. Downward spiral. Build. They're doing wetlands. Okay. We could put these guys in sands. So push these invaders into an inland land. There's disease in there. Let's get fear. There's a push 3. And I guess the smart thing would be to push the town out of E6, but that doesn't do as much damage as I would like it to do. Push the 3 explorers into E5 and I can still push the explorer town out, or... maybe it is better to just push 2. In there, 1 in there. I don't know. Still don't really have defense, so I think we're just gonna push you into E1. Just kind of leave those sands as the bad sands. Alright, is this a reclaim or put presence down turn? I have like no energy, so I can't gain a major. I can gain a 3 energy major, which does exist, but might be difficult. Moving a presence could be helpful for making adjacencies happen. We don't have a ravage this turn. We still have to deal with the town in H6, but that should be easy. We do have the Destroy Presence Blight card, but probably not worried about that. I think I'm just gonna reclaim. You can't stop me. Defend 2. It doesn't do much for the... Yeah, whatever, I'll click it. Doesn't do that much, but it... I mean, it kind of does a little. We have no more escalations. Wilds will actually work. Kill some explorers. I mean, I'm not really worried about all the explorers in H2 because there's 2 diseases in there right now. Would be nice to eventually destroy all the pieces in there, but Finder can't do that, so... Yeah, I guess put Gathering into E5 to get these 2 explorers out and kill them would be okay. Put a wild somewhere maybe, because it does do something, and then... This gives me 2 isolates for the usual suspects. Which 2 lands do I need adjacent right now? I don't think I really need adjacencies per se. This is definitely Reclaim. Tasting Splendor is all the right elements. I will click that one. Alright. Maybe I try to focus on my innate for the rest of this game, as 4 damage and target land will eventually whittle down H2. Slave Rebellion is the next turn, as we had these 3, then Slave Rebellion was revealed this, and then got put underneath 2. So there's another event card, and then there's Slave Rebellion. So getting Dahan in H2, playing Fire in the Sky in H2 repeatedly, and converting as many things in H2 as possible would be ideal. It is per board, so we could probably also try to put things in E1. Although I don't have Finder presence between H2 and E1 anymore, so I can't very easily do that, but... So to that end, maybe I want... I don't want to undo back to an information reserve field. Because maybe we're supposed to use the Dahan movement card on Keeper. Maybe not. Don't I have... I can just do this to move Dahan, although it's to as many different lands as possible. Tempest for next turn in H2 to make killing cities more easily achievable. Plus range. Land without Blight though, so I can't use that together in H2. Strife. One more card play I want it to be Sun Air. You only own the digital version, we can't wait for Finder to come out. I'm enjoying it so far, although I'm kind of brain dead right now, but details. I guess I need to deal with the H6 town. Maybe I just scatter the H6 town. Although I don't have fast things. Don't need +1 range, do we? We just played that. Do I? I don't know. I don't have all on there now. Wait. No, not that one. Wait. Make things fast. Right, I don't have all the things if I... Ugh. I'm overthinking, I feel like. I mean, I feel like I'm not really using the top tier innate on this, even though it could whittle down H2, but at the same time... I'm gonna collect this because, wait, no, I revealed a card, didn't I? I can't go back to Finder's turn, as I revealed a card this turn, so... Okay, I can't look at Finder's cards. Unless I click this, then we get Finder? Yes, okay. Like, I want to play Call to Migrate this turn, right? Like, absolutely. Oh, but I can't, actually. Okay, never mind. I can't change the powers. Okay. I accept. Alright, I feel like I'm not hitting... Wait. If I just accept I'm not playing that. I think it's okay. Make it fast. While it's there. Isolate. Scatter. Isolate. I reclaimed, so I ignore range this turn. But I don't really want to push that town. I don't want to push anything in there. I don't want to push those explorers, so this is not doing anything. I guess I could push Dahan. Half Dahan. Okay. If it pushes half Dahan, get some pieces in there then. Strife the city. And you don't need plus range, so this can go to Finder for energy. You're losing presence. Finder doesn't have much presence. Oh, I guess we don't need that one. Okay, that's fine. Don't really need this one. Remove a blight per player from the blight card, returning it to the box. Each spirit may prevent a blight from being removed by destroying 2 of their presence. We have a lot of blight, that's fine. On each board, push up 2 explorers a town from a land with beasts. Meh. On each land with buildings, 1 damage per Dahan, then each surviving building deals 1 damage to Dahan. Well, so much for the Dahan, I just put in H2. Bye! Add strife and land with presence, gain energy per sacred site and lands with invaders. Okay. Man. Everything I tried to do that turn just failed. Jungle and and Sands. Isolated, isolated, isolated. They do explore H1, but not H3. Okay. Okay. And E1 is technically building. This could just be straight up 4 damage. Slave Rebellion is next turn, and I have like no setup for it at all because the stupid event. Because the stupid event. And I also got rid of the strife on my city because, man, everything I did was undone by them dealing damage to the Han. I'm so mad. Alright, whatever. I'm just gonna kill that town. Super massive innate, and I'm mad. Push 2 invaders to a land within range 2 that has the same terrain. It's not range 2. Even if I made things adjacent, it's not going to be range 2. It's going to be range 3. Wait, but I can move the Han. No. Same terrain. There's nothing in Sands right now, which is where I really want them to be. Huh, I just destroyed this presence, but I could have actually used that to put presence in H2 to maybe make it easier to get the Han in there. But I didn't. The only thing I can meaningfully do with this would be to move presence. I'm not sure where it would make more sense for presence to be, though. I think I want that Sunbright Sacred Site there. Especially because we're not... I want that one there. What about my own presence? Finder, do you want to be somewhere? Not doing much on that board. Maybe I put you... there. Just move everything there. Okay. All the buildings are in H2. That means Slave Rebellion fizzles entirely on board E, which is not really ideal. But it's not like my Finder presence was going to do much on E5 anyway for that. I mean, I can obviously push a town city from one of my lands. If I'm in H2, I could make it adjacent to something and then push it and then blah blah blah. But it's just like... maybe, hold on. I can't put an E3 though. Well, Slave Rebellion does say... oh, it's just gonna destroy a town. If I try to put a town on this board, it's gonna get destroyed. Okay. Then whatever. You're not doing anything, boardy. I'm absolutely playing Call to Migrate. I'm absolutely playing it fast. Anything else that can move Dahan in there would be great. Move up to 4 Dahan between target land and one of your lands. Yeah, I can put my presence in H2 and make that happen. can do the move presence thing to make that happen as well. This moves how many? 4. But we don't have a land that has 4. We can have 3. I don't want too many Dahan though, do I? Or do I? I just need 3. I need Strife. I need Strife and I need at least 2 Dahan. Strifing cities, they take damage per strife, which would be 1 if they only have 1, and then 2 damage from the Dahan. So I don't need 1,000,000 Dahan, I just need 2. What I really need is strife. And currently, none of these add strife. So I'm just going to click a power card and hope that it adds strife, but the thing is, I don't think there's many power cards that add strife even fast. Maybe I get the major, the singular major that does it? No. Remove is not destroy. It does not directly trigger their destruction by moving them. So I have that going for me, which is nice. But I do think maybe this... This could potentially trigger Slave Rebellion on board E. I don't think I really need the threshold on it. Although I could move, I could move a city, but if I move 1 town, it gets destroyed. But I could move 2 towns. But I have to be in E3 and in H2. Fucking that though. Done with you. Let's see. I take this growth option. I move a presence into H2. Then I make H2 and E3 adjacent. And then I need a water, which has to be that one. The issue with this is that I don't have Call to Migrate. I do have this though. I don't even need this then. I can just move half the invaders. Literally half the invaders. Okay. How about I just do like what Finder does? Just do what Finder does. I can move, this moves round down. There's 17, which rounds down to 8. So we could do a city, 3 towns, or something. Maybe not everything though. Just, a town gets destroyed, I strife 2 buildings, they take damage per strife they have. So it needs to be a city and 2 towns. That's all it needs to be. Yeah, how about I just play Finder for what Finder does? Let's not forget what Finder even does, which is move pieces. And then this is the simplest way of getting Dahan into H2. I don't even need Call to Migrate fast. Like, I don't even need that. I could push the 2 explorers out of H1 into H2, just there's no build there. Okay. So then... I mean, actually, hold on. If only there's a simpler way of doing this. We're doing that. I'm doing things. I don't know what I'm doing now. I think I played this, but I don't actually need that. I just like clicked it. I think I'm gonna still click that. There's no more inland invaders, so we should be able to just move things around the coasts as we want. Just click that, I guess. I don't know. The more isolates I can get would be better, I guess. Maybe I do still play that for the water. Isolating H2 is important, and then I can isolate a random land just so that they don't explore it. Maybe just something that's blighted, like E1, which I don't have range to. Whatever. I don't care anymore. And then make these adjacent. Push a town. Or city. But we can already just do it all that we... Okay. So I don't need things to be fast. Getting things out of H1 I can just do with Tempest. 4 energy. Let's just grow. And I think I'm just gonna maintain all my sacred sites. Is this a forced push? No. Okay. Oh yeah, and I added, right, we have this whole thing. I'm just gonna gain an energy. Yeah, that rule that says when you place a presence in a land with another spirit, you get to gain an energy or reclaim a non-major power. So I had that. Okay. So this is move forward to Han between target land and one of your lands. Move this. Just need to Tempest just to get rid of this crap. Push. I have to see these pieces. Push a city. Wait. What happened to my adjacency? It got undone, I guess. I don't know why. City? Town? Town. Wait. Oh, I clicked the town I already pushed, I think. Although you can't tell. I don't want to push anything else. Don't want to push the Dahan. Then we isolate H2. I can't reach E1. I can just isolate H1 and let 4D explore because there's nothing on there anyway. We don't need to move pieces. I just play this for elements. Moving Dahan doesn't do anything. So we're done with these powers. Gather Dahan into land without blight. Doesn't do anything. Gather pieces doesn't do anything. I play that for elements. Losing presence. Let's just destroy the one in H2. We don't need it anymore. And then the super stack we did for a reason. Slave Rebellion. So on each board, destroy a town. Strife City. Just take damage for Strife. They take damage from Dahan. Blah blah blah. Words. It lands with buildings. It only takes 1 damage to add blight. Not mattering. Push 2 explorers to town from land with beasts. Doesn't matter. Invaders ravage. The land is Dahan. Defend 2. Doesn't matter. Strife in a land with pieces. Oh, hey. Uh-huh. I destroyed my presence from this land, but I could have packed in here, and that would have made us win the game. Whoops. Oh, there's no land with 2 or fewer invaders. Okay. Mountain and jungle. We don't have adjacencies. We don't want adjacencies for explore. This island is very small. We only really like this beach. Alright, we are 8 fear away from winning. Oh. Or we just win. You can stay. You can stay. Okay. That was not a good combination of spirit and scenario, let me say. Starting to get tired of Finder in lands where you can't communicate, or games where you can't communicate. And I only did 1 game, but you know. Whatever. This Sands had 2 cities and 5 towns in it, and we got rid of all of them that turn. And we got 44 points, 25 for difficulty, 6 for 3 remaining invader cards, 7 for 14 surviving Dahan, -4 for 8 blight. And yeah. Difficulty 5, 0 for scenario, 5 for France 2. I mean, that was probably the easiest France game of all time, ignoring the fact that, like, our fear game was terrible. We were just never at risk of the loss condition, and I feel like they never actually converted explorers to towns, so... The first slave rebellion was a bust, but at least we set up the second slave rebellion as good as we could, despite the lands that we were going to do them and having no Dahan at the start of the turn, but we managed to make that work. I would love to play Finder in a game where I can, like, freely play Finder, so maybe I shouldn't have done it in Diversity of Spirits, but hey, it's a challenge. And I did joke that I was going to play Finder in a Diversity of Spirits so that you can't communicate, you can't hear the other spirits, and you also see things that can't be seen, so you're blind, deaf, and mute. But, you know. Now that I've done that, never again. Never again. Certainly awkward, though, playing a spirit that doesn't want to actively destroy things themselves. Because it's like, my main motivation was to put as many pieces into a single land as possible, so it's a single isolated problem. But then it's like, what can I do with those pieces? Eh? Another spirit comes along and does 1 million damage. If I was playing with River, this land would have been golden, because I could just do 2 damage to each invader and, like, kill everything but the cities, but then, like, the cities could be tapped with the whatever damage that does extra damage in Coast Power is, I forget. Or maybe I play with Thunderspeaker, who just puts Presence and Dahan in this land and does 1 million damage, because 1 million times 1 million is 1 million. That's how math works, right? Sunbright Whirlwind was probably not the best for that, although it does synergize very well with pushing, as you could just make 2 lands adjacent. Finder can hurt invaders, just not kill. Yes, that is true. I could have taken damage cards intending to just wound cities. I could also just not click damage cards and not run the risk. Then again, it's not like it's even a risk, because I can freely deal damage. It's just the damage to each invader that's bad. But anyway, thank you all for watching. This was a 3-hour game, and I hope you enjoyed it, because, I hope you enjoyed it. That was not a threat. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out Handelabra Live on Tuesday for more content before it is publicly available. I think technically everything from this promo pack has been shown at this point, but I don't know. I just work here, man. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.